Hey everybody, Brandon here from Create Commander. Thanks for tuning back in. On today's episode, we have another deck tech from Commander Legends, and this one's going to be kind of piratey themed. I know that this is the week of Thanksgiving and stuff. This is the week for giving and doing all that kind of great stuff and wonderful traditions and that sort of thing, but this deck is going to be based around pirates and stealing stuff and, you know, just having a good old Izzet time. So anyway, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, like, share, comment in the comment section. All of that is very, very helpful. And always check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Create Commander. So let's head on over to the deck and see if this is going to be a good time, or is it? First up, let's introduce the commander of the deck. We have Captain Vargus Wrath for blue and red. We have a 1/1 Orc Pirate. Whenever he attacks, pirates you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each time you've cast your commander this game. From the command zone, that is. So, that also hits himself. So you can do some piratey, commandery damage kind of stuff, but that's actually not the way that we're really going to win this with this deck. It's great to be able to play some tribal-y stuff with pirates and have some different effects and stuff, but we'll get to the combo here in a little bit and kind of really show you how this deck wants to win. First, we need to go through the card draw and looting section, the removal section, and the ramping section, or what I like to call about the core 30 of the deck. We've arrived here at the card draw section. The first one up is Brainstorm. It was just reprinted in Double Masters. For a single blue, you get to draw 3 and then put 2 cards from your hand back on top of your library in any order. Next is Faithless Looting. For 1 red, draw 2 and then discard 2. This one does have flashback. This one is at sorcery speed, so be aware of that. Opt is next. For 1 blue, you get to scry 1 and then draw a card. I did opt to go with the, see what I did there, pirate themed art. Next, you have Spectral Sailor. For 1, you have a flash 1/1 flying spirit pirate, and then it has 3 and a blue to draw a card. That's not the best, but in a pinch, sometimes you just got to draw that card. Daring Saboteur is from Ixalan. For 1 and a blue, you get a 2/1 human pirate. For 2 and a blue, it has the ability on it, it can't be blocked until end of turn, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card, and if you do, discard 1. Next, we have Izzet Charm for blue and red. Choose 1. Counter a spell, deal 2 to something, or draw 2 and discard 2. Next up, we have Omen of the Sea for 1 and a blue. It's a flash enchantment. When it enters, you get to scry 2, then draw a card, and then you can pay 2 and a blue to sacrifice it and scry 2 again. Next, we have Reshape for X blue blue. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less, and put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Frantic Search is 2 and a blue. Draw 2 cards and discard 2, and then untap 3 lands. This is kind of like a free spell, pretty much, at instant speed. It's pretty awesome. Tribute Mage for 2 and a blue. I'm putting tutors in this section as well, so this one tutors up an artifact with CMC of 2. Trinket Mage is another one similar to Tribute Mage. It tutors up a artifact for a CMC of 1 or less. Whir of Invention is X blue 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 with Improvise on it. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less, put it on the battlefield, and shuffle your library. Biden of Thassa, 2 blue blue for a legendary enchantment artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. And then it also has pay 1 and a blue, tap it, creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able, so it kind of goads them into attacking a little bit, which is pretty fun for a blue card, actually. Coastal Piracy is next for 2 blue blue. It's an enchantment. It's from Jumpstart, actually, if you're looking for a more recent copy. When a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. I think you see a theme. Next, Instant Speed, Fact or Fiction, 3 and a blue. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and an opponent separates them into 2 piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. This is a great politicking card as well. And finally, Teferi's Ageless Insight, 2 blue blue, legendary enchantment from M21. If you would draw a card except for the first one, you draw each of your draw steps, then draw 2 instead. Well, we just went through the card draw section. Let's head on down to the ramp section. We've arrived here at the ramp section. The first one up is a common from Commander Legends. For 1 mana, you have Impulsive Pilferer. When it dies, you get to create a treasure token. It has that encore mechanic that's so pretty cool. And you're going to be seeing a lot of treasure theme in this deck simply because that's the type of ramp that I really wanted to go for. And, I mean, pirates, treasure, it was really on theme. Come on, guys. Next, you have Soul Ring, followed by Arcane Signet. You know what those two do. Dockside Extortionist is the reason that this deck went from being a $50 deck basically to almost a $100 deck. You know, when I decided, I was like, well, I'm just not going to go with that kind of budget, and I'm going to put this card in there because he is a pirate, and he does make a boatload of treasures, and you can blink him in this deck, and you can do a whole bunch of silly things. It just, for 1 and a red, I mean, it's just such a good card. It's just such a good card. Fire Diamond was reprinted in Commander Legends. It's a 2-drop, enters tapped, and you can add for red. Izzet Signet, 2-drop again, mana rock. You can pay 1 into it, get Izzet out of it. Sky Diamond, much like Fire Diamond, comes in tapped, but this one adds for blue. Talisman is another 2-drop artifact rock. You can, painlessly add colorless, or you can pay 1 life. Gives you red or blue, that kind of thing. Captain Lannery Storm is a pirate. When a Lannery Storm attacks, you create a colorless artifact token, and whenever you sacrifice a treasure, Lannery Storm gets +1/+0. Next up, we have Corsair Captain, 2 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and other pirates you control get +1/+1. So it's a pirate lord, but the ETB effect, if we're going to be blinking it and that sort of thing, is pretty awesome, where you're just making more treasure tokens. Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator is probably one of the commanders in Commander Legends I think that's really not getting a whole lot of love. For 2 and a blue, I mean, this one's currently being sold for 21 cents. It's pretty great, actually. For 2 and a blue, flying, legendary Siren Pirate, 2/2 body. Whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to your opponents, you create a treasure token for each opponent dealt damage, and it has partner. So essentially, if you have 3 pirates and you swing them unblockable at 3 different players, then you make 3 tokens simply because of Malcolm's ability. 3 treasure tokens, pretty good deal. Sailor of Means, 2 and a blue. When it enters, you get to create a colorless treasure artifact with tap. Sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. It's on a 1/4 body, so it's a little bit beefier of a pirate than normal. Finally, we have Brazen Freebooter, 3 and a red. When it enters the battlefield, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, sacrifice it, blah, blah, blah. This one's on a 3/3 body. So as you can see, a lot of the ramp in this deck is centered around treasure and treasure tokens and stuff like that, being able to sacrifice them to gain the mana that we need to kind of catch up. There's not a whole lot of land ramp in this particular deck, mainly because I really wanted to lean on treasure. So if there is a weakness in the deck, I think it's probably going to be a little bit of instant card draw that blue is typically known for, and lands on the battlefield kind of a ramp. However, we can deal with a lot of the other threats by removing them. So let's head on down to the removal and see what we have there. Pongify is in this deck because it destroys a target creature, which blue is not typically known for, and it gives them a 3/3 basic green ape for their troubles. Same over here for Rabbit Hybridization, except this one gets a green frog lizard, and it can't be regenerated, so there's that little bit of extra text. A Braid is in here for 1 and a red. Instant speed you get to choose. I like being able to have the choice of either 3 damage to a target creature or destroying an artifact, so targeted artifact removal here. And something you'll also see in this deck is I've included some of the counterspell packages in the removal section, simply because if something's trying to hit the battlefield and we counter it, essentially we removed it from even happening. So classic OG counterspell is next. Curse of the Swine is X blue blue, exile X target creatures. For each creature exiled this way, its controller puts a 2/2 green boar creature token onto the battlefield. So exiling instead of destroying is extremely important, as you probably are well aware of some of the indestructible stuff that's in Commander. Next we have Essence Scatter, counter target creature spell. Nobody plays creatures in Commander, right? Izzet Charm we already went over. You get to either counter or do 2 damage to something. Mana Leak is counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Mana Leak is great early game. This is something that, you're going to be tapping and countering something turn 2 or 3, hopefully, and they're not going to have that extra 3. Maybe later on in the game, that might be a little bit more of a problem. However, if they're trying to cast both of their combo pieces on like turn 7 or turn 8, then, having them lose one of them because they can't afford to pay the extra 3 after that might just be able to save the game. Next up, we have one of our board wipes. It is Mizium Mortars. It deals 4 damage to target creature you don't control, but as many of you may know if you follow the channel, I'm a big fan of the overload mechanic. This has 3 red to overload it and deals 4 damage to each creature you don't control. So that is the key part of that. Next, we have Classic and OG Negate. I mean, that Zendikar Rising art is just fabulous on that one. I love that one. I know that there was other negates that I could have put in here, but I just like the art, okay? Shatter, 1 in a red, instant speed, targeted artifact removal. Love it. Chaos Warp, again, instant speed. Trying to keep this as instant speed as possible. For 2 in a red, Chaos Warp takes something, shuffles it into their owner's library, and then they rip the top card off of their library. If it's a permanent, they put it onto the battlefield. So this can go great, or this can go shapoopy. That's the point of Chaos. Next, you have Aetherize, instant speed, 3 and a blue. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand, so you can be like, yeah, go ahead, attack me. I don't care, one tiny little bit. Okay, sack 4 treasures, Aetherize everything, and all your tokens go back to your hand. Have a good day. That is crushing. All right, next up. This is one of the newer cards. Amphin, Mutineer, 3 and a blue. Creature, Salamander Pirate. Love it. 3/3 body. Okay. When it enters the battlefield, exile, not destroy, exile up to 1 target non-salamander creature. That creature's controller creates a 4/3 blue salamander warrior creature token. The encore is 4 blue. It comes back, and if you have 3 opponents, guess what? 3 of these come back. So you're exiling 3 and doing a whole... Love this card. Love this card. It's amazing. How it's less than $1, I have no idea. But exiling, over-destroying, wonderful. Just wonderful. Finally, we have our last board wipe in Chain Reaction for 2, red. It deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. So if everybody's going crazy, and you're playing a Krinko player with like 35 goblins, well, 35 damage to each creature is pretty much going to take care of most board states, I would hope. Alright, so that was the removal package, and that pretty much takes care of what I would consider the core 30 of this deck. So, what do pirates and stuff do? Well, they tend to, go sailing and catch some fish. Just kidding. They pillage and they steal stuff, and, they take things and keep them for themselves. So, that's kind of what the deck really wants to do, is just to be annoying. But then, once it comes time to, hit your own win con, then that's where it really, really shines. First one we're going to go through is the theft section, and I love calling it the theft section just because this is where you're just stealing crap from other people. First, we have Act of Treason for 2 and a red, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste. Hijack, similar thing, 1 red, gain control of target artifact or creature, so this is an artifact as well. Until end of turn, untap it, it gains haste. Breaches is a new card from Commander Legends. This is a 3 and a red for 3/3 menace. When 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to opponents, exile the top card of that opponent's library. You can play that card this turn, and you may spend mana as if it were mana of any color to cast it. It has partner. It can't be your commander, but this is basically just in here to rip stuff off the top of people's library and make sure that it stays in exile. Captivating Crew for 3 and a red is a human pirate, and then 3 and a red as its ability. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste, and activate this ability anytime you would a sorcery. So yes, this is a little bit more of an expensive thing, but having it being recurable, or repeatable I should say, on a body is pretty nice. Yes, the body does die to removal, I understand that, but it's kind of nice to have it right there for you. Next, you have a card from Commander Legends for Coercive Recruiter, 4 and a red Orc Pirate. When it or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of the target creature until end of turn, untap it, and until the end of turn it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types on a 4/3 body. So what do we do when we steal all this crap? Well, at the end of our turn, we go into Conjurer's Closet and blink it and bring it back, and guess what? It's now ours to keep forever, and it's so cool. But the last card is another potential, commander for this deck if you wanted to go that route instead. Zara Renegade Recruiter, 3 blue, red for a 4/3 flyer. When it attacks, because, it's bigger, you can kind of get more commander damage out of it. When it attacks, look at defending player's hand. You may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control and attacking that player or a planeswalker that player controls. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Well, if you blink it, you ripped it right out of their hand and they don't get it back. So, meeny, 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 meeny. Finally, what's our win con? This is a Curiosity combo deck that's going to be looking to take advantage of Curiosity, having a whole bunch of cards in your hand and just drawing a whole lot of cards off of it. And how are you going to do that? Well, you can attach Curiosity to Glinthorn Buccaneer or Psychosis Crawler, and as long as you have 8 cards in your hand at your end step, then you can just discard one, draw one off of it, deals damage, they draw one, just anyway. Repeatable stuff. However, what happens if you have a boatload of, people that are playing life gain or what have you, and they have 100 life or what have you, then that's okay. That's where Thassa's Oracle comes into play, and hopefully we are able to get Thassa's Oracle out before we die ourselves. And that's kind of the point. We have a lot of removal in this deck to be able to make sure that, we can take care of Glinthorn or, Tandem Lookout or whatever. Because of the budget on this one, trying to keep it under $100, I didn't have quite the room to squeeze Ophidian Eye in here, but that could certainly definitely be added to the deck as well, just to make sure that you have extra options if Glinthorn isn't your thing, because it was a pirate and that's where I wanted to go that route. You can of course add Niv Mizzet or another one of the classic Curiosity combo pieces in here just to get some more value too. Alright guys, well that is going to do it for Captain Vargus Wrath and the Pirate Tribal, Thefty, Blinky, Steely, Curiosity combo deck. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course if you have a little bit extra bucks in your pocket and you can swing a few of those extra cards like Ophidian Eye or what have you, this deck can really kind of focus in on that theme even more. So please make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you would add to the deck, or if you liked it. If you didn't like it, please let me know what it was. I would love to hear about it. Also, check me out at Create Commander on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, please make sure you're subbed to the channel. Every one of you goes a super long way, and I appreciate you so much. As always, though, I'll see you on the next one.